Namaste. My name is Todd, and I'm the founder of Ashaya Yoga. Welcome to Asana Spotlight. You know, yoga is all about taking care of ourselves, self-nourishment. And so many of us feel a little bit of guilt by taking care of ourselves. We're so busy taking care of everybody else. I'm a teacher, so I see lots of students. And I think the key is that yoga is trying to tell us is that self-nourishment is really, really important. So today's pose is a variation of a pose that we did previously. It's called Bharadvajasana 2. So Bharadvaja was a famous yogic saint. He's one of the Sapta Rishis, which means 7 seers. So one of the top sort of wise people from India. And so this pose is named after him. And the pose also means this Bharadva and this Vaja means bringer of nourishment. So the pose itself is kind of a hip opener. It's also a spinal twist. It's a shoulder opener. It's really got tremendous benefits. But when you do twisting poses, it acts as a kind of psychic sedative for the nervous system. It turns on the parasympathetic nervous system, which is what we need to be able to slow down, to relax, and actually take care of ourselves. And so often, you know, we just get so busy in life that we forget ourselves, or we don't eat well, or we eat on the fly, or we let go of that exercise routine because we got so busy with work. So that's what happened to me yesterday. So I plan to do a vigorous workout after this class. So one of the things with this pose, it's a fairly uncommon pose, is that it really requires hip flexibility and knee flexibility. So a lot of people avoid this pose because their knees can't handle it. So I'm going to show you some techniques, it's all from the Ashaya Method, that help to open up the hips, protect the knees, and maybe you'll find by doing the alignment techniques, you'll be able to do this pose. I will show a couple variations in case your knees don't bend the way they used to, so we can do sort of a, modification, go partway into the pose. Now, to get to this pose, we're going to go through 4 or 5 other poses. That's what I'm saying. This is a complex pose, so we're going to take it layer by layer by layer. We'll do a little bit of warm up first. So the thing that I want to say is that oftentimes, like, why don't we take care of ourselves? Well, we can feel sort of a sense of guilt, or that maybe we're not worthy to receive. So, and also we can get this feeling of that, well, it's selfish. Yoga is saying, wait a minute, you need to put yourself first, take care of yourself so you have the energy to then give to others. It's like what they say on the airlines, you know, in the event of oxygen deprivation, a mask will drop down, put it on your face first, and then put it on the people you've been traveling with. So that makes a lot of sense, right? We can't serve anyone when we're unconscious. So, all right, let's begin. So meet me at the top of your mat. We'll come into a standing position. Okay, come to the front of your mat. Stand with your feet parallel, hip distance apart, palms in front. Hug in with self-nourishment. So claw your finger pads, your palms, just press them together. Lift and spread your toes. This will activate your muscles. We want that feeling of muscles hugged onto the bones to really pull in and nourish ourselves. And then in yoga, we nourish ourselves also, not just physically, but also with the breath. So take some deep breaths. We nourish ourselves by lining up with the body's natural optimal alignment. So the muscles hug, thigh bones go back, just stick your butt out to generate low back curve. Pull your tailbone in, lift your heart from your pelvis, just push down into the earth. And from that power of down, we go up. Lift your heart. Inhale, stretch your arms all the way up. Exhale, fold forward, hinge from your hips, lead with your heart, and lightly touch the floor or put your hands up on blocks. Inhale, heart forward part way, and then exhale with nourishment, just draw in. Isometrically pull your heels backwards to get your hamstrings to nourish you. So we need to be willing to experience the stretch, and then not to force ourselves, but to actually nourish ourselves with the stretch. So you should feel sort of a moderate form of discomfort. Okay, it's mild, tolerable. If it's a sharp pain, bend your knees a little bit more and back off just a bit. And then nourishing breaths. Inhale, heart forward halfway. Exhale and fold. Again, inhale and exhale. Relax your head and your neck. Step back, downward facing dog pose. Alternately, press your heels. And we want to get the backs of the legs to open up and the calves. This is all going to help us in Bharadvajasana 2 pose. Bend both knees. Hug your shins. Turn your thighs in. Lift your sitting bones way up high. So much so that you can get a little bit of a low back curve. And then claw your hands. And with the longing to self-nourish, just pull up into your heart. Lift your arm bones a little bit higher. And then relax the heart. Try to do both things at the same time. They're two opposite things. The arm bones engage. So you lift the head of the arm bones. You know, self-nourishment takes a little bit of effort. So make the effort. But then receive. Let your heart just drink it in. Melt the heart. Keep your arm bones up. Release your head so your ears are more in line with your arms. And then keeping all that from your heart, push down through your hands, and from your heart, root the heels back. They don't have to go down, but slide your heels backwards. And breathe. Really stretch it out. Pull your ribs in a bit. Keep the heart soft. And enjoy the stretch. Inhale. Lift your right leg up high. Exhale. Lunge forward. And twist, come onto your left arm. Exhale, return the hand to center. Squeeze your legs to the middle, come up hands to hips. A nice Vira warrior lunge pose. With nurturance, just pull your legs in toward the middle. Lift your back thigh a little higher. Take your outer right hip crease back and down. And then inhale, stretch up. From your pelvis, push your left heel backwards and your right shin forward more. And you'll notice your body goes deeper into the pose. Sweep your arms out to the side. We're going to do a little variation. Keep your balance, interlace your fingers, and stretch your shoulders back. So we need to get the arms a little more open for the pose that's coming. And then fold forward and try to stretch your wrists up toward the ceiling and overhead. Come a little bit to the left, the inside of the right knee. Breathe. And then release your arms, touch the floor. Go back into downward dog pose. Inhale, left leg up high. Exhale, forward. Start with the twist. Twist up toward the left, lean onto your right hand. Exhale back to center. Steady yourself, squeeze your legs in toward the midline, hands to hips. Remember the breath, and it's good that we pick up our heart rate a little bit. We do, it's not exactly aerobic, but it's a little bit. You have to work a bit. So open to the breath, and then engage your muscles. With self-nourishment, just hug in. We need to nourish ourselves, so we fill ourselves with energy, so we don't give from our reserve tank. That's what causes exhaustion. We give all of our energy, all of our reserves, and then we become exhausted. So yoga really does the opposite. You pull in, you draw into your center, fill yourself, let grace fill you. And then lift your right thigh a little higher, left hip crease back and down. Inhale, arms up from your pelvis. Push your right heel back, left shin forward. You'll go a little bit deeper in the pose. Hang in there. Here comes the arm variation. Sweep your arms down, interlace your fingers, but do it in the non-habitual way. So shift your index finger knuckles and then stretch back. It really does change the feeling of the stretch. Lift your heart, shoulders back, stay strong. And here we go. Fold forward, stretch your arms up overhead. Continue to breathe. Let the stretch nourish you by getting into some of the areas that you don't normally stretch. And breathe. Exhale, release your hands, step back, plank pose. Hold plank now. Thigh bones back, tailbone in, heart is soft. Take your ears back. And then lift your right foot off the floor. Hug to the middle. Yeah. Then right foot down, lift your left foot off the floor. Really pull in. Awesome. And then slowly come partway down and hold. Exhale all the way down. Inhale. Come up into cobra position, just nice and easy. Make it a nourishing snake pose, if that's even possible. Okay, don't scare yourself. And then exhale, come down, come onto your forearms, curl your toes, and go up, forearm plank. Draw into the low belly center, 3 inches below the navel. Just pull in, that's the center of gravity in this pose. Thighs back, tail in. Now pull your ribs in. Awesome. Lean a little bit toward the right and see if you can come onto your left fingers. And then if you can, balance on your right forearm, left hand to the hip, and stretch your left arm up. Hold. And then bring your left forearm down. Come back to center. Lean left. Right fingers. You got to really pull in your core here. It's going to heat your body up. Draw in with self-love. Nourishing ourselves is another form of loving ourselves. Whenever I exercise, it's like, oh, this is an act of self-love. How wonderful. And release. Exhale, come on down. Very good. Push back into downward facing dog pose. And breathe. Okay, one more opener. Step your right foot to the left of center between your hands. And then with your shin parallel to the front edge of your mat, lower your right knee toward the floor. Curl your left toes under. And then bring your back knee down to the floor. Lean a little bit to your left. Widen the right hip out to the right more. That's it. Big hip stretch. Then pull your tailbone in. Square your hips to the front. Put your left hand in the sole of the right foot and just push your foot against your hand. And when you push, widen your sitting bones. Push your foot with your hand. Push your foot into your hand. And then draw your tailbone in, fold forward, and from your pelvis, push straight back through the left big toe ball mound. Find it, push it back, your left heel straight up and down, and then push your right shin forward toward the front of your mat, and you should feel a mild, uncomfortable stretch in your hip. It's a good thing. It should hurt good. Don't be afraid to really stretch the hip. Good. All right. Go back to downward dog pose. Exhale, left foot to the right of center. Right knee down to the floor. And put your hand in the sole of your left foot and then push your foot against the hand, hand against the foot. Square your hips to the front. Tailbone in, fold forward. There's the stretch. Now, from your pelvis, push the right big toe ball mound straight back. Your right heel is perpendicular. You can look. And then push your left shin forward. Bring your breath to the areas of tension. So a lot of stretch in the hip right now, most likely. So see if you can make it a nourishing stretch. Most of the time, not physically, but mentally, we torture ourselves. So instead of self-torture, choose self-nourishment. Sometimes we need to back off a little. If we're just too intense in the stretch, the body will tighten up. So you have to find the sweet spot. You give just enough energy and stretch, but not too much. And not too little. Well done. Go back to downward dog. And bend your knees, come on down. All right, we're ready. So have yourself a belt, which you may need, and here's how it starts. So remember I said we're going to do 4 or 5 poses to get into it. Here's where those start. What we just did was the warm-up. So right leg is out, bend your left knee back, and this is half virasana. Pull up on the kneecap skin and bring your left foot, just turn it slightly away from the hip, spread your toes, and try to get the left little toe to spread out. If this is challenging for you, a couple things. You can take a blanket and elevate your hips. You put it right underneath the sitting bone. That can help. So this is a little bendy for the knee. But if that doesn't work, then what I suggest is instead of half virasana on the left leg, you're going to choose the Janushirshasana foot. Okay. So how this looks, so you can see better, is this. So you bend it up to the side. If the knee is still sore, you could bring your foot forward. Okay. But then it'll be important that you elevate your hips to keep the possibility for a low back curve. But if you can do half virasana, there it goes. And here's our first stretch. Bend your right knee, right foot down, come onto your forearms, and pull your tailbone in a lot. Lift your hips right off the floor and kind of sweep the buttock muscles under you and push from the pelvis straight out through the left knee. Try to grow your femur bone. It's the thigh bone. You should have a little quad stretch here. Okay. Second stretch is right leg is out. Lift your back. Try to pull your low back in and then fold. Bring your heart toward the foot. Hold across the little toe edge of your foot. Hold over the front of your foot with your left hand. It's a little twist to your right and fold. This is Triyanga, Mukaikapada, Paschimottanasana. So it's the 3-limbed forward bend pose. And this is going to get the hamstring and the calf and the leg stretched out and ready for what's to come. Inhale, come up. And here's the next one. You bend the right knee, take hold of the foot, and stretch the thigh. This is called Kranjasana. Here's where a belt might come in handy. You just put it around the foot, and you can hold just like this. Okay. If you have a little more flexibility, hold both edges of the feet, elbows flare. They go wide and up and toward the back plane. Armpits follow. Armpits go toward the back plane. You bring your leg in a little bit more and push your right thigh back into the hamstring. Forehead towards the knee. A very deep stretch. Kranjasana. Krancha is heron. It's one of my favorite all-time birds, the blue heron pose, which we have around here. Okay, here's the next stretch. It's like a half happy baby pose. You grab onto the foot, the outer edge of the foot, and you stretch. You can bring your other hand here. It's like one hand is like say, okay, stop. And this one is go. It's almost like you're going to pull the bowstring of a bow and arrow. You pull back like this and push your foot forward. Very incredible, wonderful hip stretch. And then we go to the baby cradle pose. And this is really what's going to open us up for Bharadvajasana 2. So pull your toes back, especially pull back on the fifth toe. All right, so your foot is not sickled. Here's a sickled foot where everything's turned and rotated. I want you to straighten it out like that. And that goes into the crook of your elbow. And then inner rotate your thighs. Your right knee goes forward. Pull your foot closer to you. The baby cradle. So admire your cute little 5-headed baby right there. And pull her in. Good. Lift your heart. We want to try to keep the back as elongated as possible. And here comes Bharadvajasana 2. You take hold of the foot and the ankle, and you point the foot, pull the heel in towards your navel, and then lean toward the bent knee, lean toward the right, bring your foot as high up on the left thigh as you can. Keep leaning until your right knee comes all the way down. Move back a little bit right here. Okay, so as you lean, inner rotate your thigh, stick your butt way out behind you. Then karate chop your right foot down onto the top of the thigh. That's going to engage your shin, which provides the support for your hip to open more. Okay, this is a wonderful preparation for doing Padmasana, lotus pose, but we're not going to go that far. So this is really it. And then you inhale, rise up, and twist to your right. And there is an arm variation here. So, this is the regular pose. But then you take your right arm behind and pull your wrist behind and do it so much so that you can take hold of the right foot with your right arm. And here's where the belt can come in. So let's say you're not able to grasp the foot, then you've got the belt. So almost done here. Okay, so this is very intense. Now we're moving into pretzel land, we could say. Inhale and lift your side ribs. Then take the head of your arm bones back, especially the arm behind your back. And here's the very wonderful position for the left hand. You curl the palm back and put it fingers underneath the thigh and begin to move your hand toward the floor. So now you've got this stretch all the way on the belly of the left forearm. So here it is. Inhale, rise more. Exhale, twist more. And then instead of head going to the direction you twist, you actually turn it in the opposite direction and look upward and slightly aloof. You just go up and gaze at the stars. Bharadvajasana 2, pose of self-nourishment. Take a couple of breaths. And then exhale, unravel. Very good. Going to do the whole thing on the second side. You ready? Stretch both legs out just to give a counter stretch to the legs and to the knees. Then either half virasana with the right leg, or remember, Janu Shirshasana is another way to do this pose. Feel free to hop up on a blanket. It will make it easier. It will be less pressure on the bend in the knee. And one thing that really helps the knee have a balanced stretch is when the ligaments on the inner and outer side of the knee are evenly stretched. The way you get the ligaments to line up, the way you line up your knee is with your foot. So instead of sickling the foot where your toes curl under your butt, you turn the toes out more. Your ankle is straight. Especially work the fifth toe, which is related to the earth element. 5 toes are the 5 elements. And earth is going to stabilize the knee joint. And then you press the little toe edge of your foot down, works the peroneal muscles in the shin. You can pull up on the kneecap skin. Just pull this way. Bend the left knee, left foot on the floor. And we're going towards Supta Virasana, but just onto the elbows. Lift your hips, Pull your tailbone in more, and from your pelvic core now, push straight out through the right thigh bone. You make your thigh grow long, and that's going to really stretch out the quadricep muscle. In addition, the psoas muscle gets a really good stretch here. And just breathe into it. Ask yourself, are you pushing? Okay, should you not be doing this one? So do the Janu Shirshasana leg position. Okay, we have to accommodate. So we're doing yoga from where we are rather than where the other person is or where you wish you could be. I think self-nourishment really requires us to approach with self-acceptance as the primary way of loving ourselves. Acceptance allows space. Okay, number 2, stretch your left leg out straight. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fold. Hold the little toe edge of the left foot with your right hand and bow. There's a little twist toward the left, so turn your ribs toward the left. Of course, you know, in Ashaya, when we're in a spinal twist, the heart goes one direction, the low belly goes in the other. So heart to the left, low belly a little bit toward the right. And then inhale, come up. And here's where you can grab the belt, put the belt around your foot, or just hold inner and outer edge of your feet. Elbows flare, take the outer elbows up and back. Armpits go back, inner armpit especially goes back. And then as much as you can, start to stretch this leg straight and push your thigh bone into the hamstrings out that way. The shin comes toward you, but your thigh goes away from you. And then from your pelvis, extend straight up through the bones of the left leg, straight out through your heel. Yeah. This is a little bit of an inchworm position too, so you can kind of crawl and like an inchworm up the stick this way. Okay, very good. Here comes half happy baby pose. Bend your knee, pull the outer edge of your left foot back, push your foot into your hand, and the right arm goes, no, stop. So you really push away. You draw the string of the bow back. Baby cradle, put the foot in the crook of your elbow, interlace your fingers. Now, rotate your left thigh a lot. And then the knee goes forward, pull your foot towards you. Remember to pull back on the little toe edge of your foot so you don't sickle your left foot in the crook of the elbow. And best to bring your shin up parallel to your shoulders or to your chest if you can. And this is going to give you probably the biggest hip stretch of all the preparatory poses. So we want to linger here for a moment and breathe. Lift your heart. Take some nourishing breaths. It really is good to nourish yourself, but we don't want to force. Okay. Take hold of the underside of the ankle. Point your foot. It's going to open the hip more. So you point. And then pull your heel in towards your navel as much as you can. As you lean, go to the left. Lean to the left. Bring your left knee. If it'll go down to the floor or almost down to the floor, do that. Then karate chop your left little toe onto the hip so your ankle stays straight. Both hands over to the left. Lean, twist to the left. And then lift your hips. Rotate your thighs, especially the right thigh and the right hip. And you widen out to the side. Right hip is off the floor. And we want that because that's what's going to open up the pelvis. Then draw your tailbone in. You sit more upright. Take your left hand behind your back. And you can pull the wrist a little bit to give yourself a head start. And then grasp the foot or the belt. So you can use your belt here. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, twist. And then the right hand comes up. The back of the hand, back of the fingers go underneath the thigh. And you kind of push your palm toward the floor. Tremendous wrist and forearm stretch. Your wrist goes deep into extension here, wrist extension. Inhale, rise up. Exhale and twist to the left. Head of the arm bones go back. Hug the vertical midline all around your spine with self-nourishment. Head of the arm bones back. And then turn your head to the right. So your torso twists left. Twist left. The head goes to the right and you look upward slightly. And breathe. Enjoy the stretch. So much is going on here, but try to draw into the source of stillness deep inside. And then exhale and release, unravel. Stretch both legs out in front. Put your hands behind you. Lean back a little bit into your shoulders. Very good. And then just come sit for a moment, cross your legs. You can grab yourself a blanket and elevate your hips just for a little more ease. Hands in Jnana Mudra, index finger and thumbs together. We touch cosmic consciousness this way, palms down, and then close your eyes, take some breaths. Breathe into all the areas that you opened today, especially the legs, the hips, the back, and then also the shoulders, wrists, forearms. And bring your body into alignment so that your palate is directly above the pelvis. Head, heart, body, all aligned. And then receive the nourishing energy of the practice. When the muscles stretch, when you align the joints, you increase communication. The nervous system opens up and you're able to let go. Self-nourishment gives you the strength to release, to let go of what no longer serves you and come home to your heart where you're already whole and complete. Take a few moments and just settle into the stillness that comes after you stretch and balance your body. The breath plays an important role. Let the breath increase and expand. Come back to a place of peace and calm, deep in the heart. Cool, calm, collected, at peace, at home inside yourself. And then thank yourself for giving yourself the gift of this time to really nurture yourself. Bring your palms together in front. Having filled our own tank with self-nurturance, now we can give freely. And let's extend this light and this nourishment energy out to our friends, family, and to all beings. Just spread the light. And as you offer it, it grows even stronger inside of you. If we can make just one person's life a little better, bring a little joy to even just one person, we've done a huge thing. Take a breath and we'll chant Om. Namaste. Thanks for your practice. Have a great day.